Hey guys, what's up? Today I am going to be doing a deck tech on... Oh no, not that. Edgar Markov. Yes, it is a real Edgar Markov. Funny story, I happened upon him at a shop where at the time he was only a couple bucks, I believe. And now he's like $100 card. Yep. So, great old vampire Edgar Markov. There's a cool looking anime playing in the background about heroes. I own no rights to it, whatever the heck it's called, if you recognize the name of it. Oh, Invincible. So Edgar Markov is a legendary creature vampire knight. He is Mardu colors and 3 colorless. And he says, Eminence. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar is in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token. He has first strike and haste, and when he attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control, including him, which is probably part of the reason why he is so expensive. Excuse me. Random cough. I can't believe how much he went up in price, because I got him for very cheap, and he's very expensive now. Which is why I'm doing a deck tech on him, because I want to sell him to get more stuff. Alright, onward to the rest of the deck. Good old Edgar Markov. Next is Burning Prophet. Burning Prophet is a human wizard, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and then you scry 1. Scrying's always good. Oh, and it's a 1/3. Next is Unanswered Prayers for 2 white, 1 colorless. This enchantment says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. If Answered Prayers isn't a creature, it becomes a 3/3 angel creature with flying in addition to its other types. So it's like a 3/3 angel creature enchantment with flying. Next is Angel of Dawn. Yeah, weird. You have Edgar as a Markov, or Edgar Markov as your commander. Sorry, I'm tired, guys. You have Edgar Markov as your commander, and you're running angels. It actually helps out a lot. This says 3/3 flying. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 in vigilance until end of turn. So get a bunch of your vampires on the battlefield, play that. They all get +1/+1, and they gain vigilance. Pretty simple, actually. Next is a Viscera Seer. Not only is it a vampire, but it gives you a scry mechanic. You just sacrifice your vampires, and you scry 1. Next, Nirkana Assassin. Again, vampire, of course. Whenever you gain life, it gains death touch until end of turn. And it's a 2/3. Of course I have life gain. It's a vampire deck. Next is, of course, what is a good old vampire deck without Sorin Markov, guys. Sorin Markov is a planeswalker that says +2, deal 2 damage to target creature or player, and you gain 2 life. -3, target opponent's life total becomes 10. -7, you control target player during that player's next turn, and a loyalty of 4. Next, I have a foiled Lumathread Field, but it is a yeah, it's for Mystery Booster. Don't get too excited. Creatures you control get +0/+1. It has morph of 1 white and 1 colorless. For people who don't know what morph is, it's you may play this face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Turn it face up anytime for its morph cost. Next is a foil Cleric of Life's Bond. For 1 white and 1 black, this creature vampire cleric says whenever another cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Cleric of Life's Bond. It's a 2/2. It's not that cool in this deck, actually. Next is a Blood Bond Vampire. 2 black, 2 colorless. This Vampire Shaman ally says whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Bond Vampire. Lovely.
Chicken noodle soup.
You gotta be kidding.
What? Is it really chicken noodle soup?
No, I've been playing with this deck legally the entire fucking time.
Oh.
There's another Cleric of Life Spawn. With their crown.
Nice one, Jeff.
Let me know if you see that at any point in time. Sometimes when I build decks, I am so freaking tired. I built this so long ago, though. Fortifying Provisions. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to go back. I was talking. Wither Crown. 1 black, 1 colorless. Enchantment Aura. Enchanted creature has base power 0, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. Help me get rid of a lot of creatures. Next is Fortifying Provisions. 1 white, 2 colorless. This enchantment says creatures you control get +0/+1, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a food token. Again, here's that card. At least you would focus that. Okay, there it is. Next is a Transgress the Mind for 1 colorless and 1 black. This sorcery says target player reveals his or her hand. You may choose a card from it with converted mana cost 3 or greater and exile that card. Fun removal. Duress. I'm not even going to read it. Everybody knows what Duress does. Next is a Shadow Alley Denizen. I love this card. Whenever another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gains Intimidate until end of turn. Lots of Intimidate going on if you play this deck right. Next is Heirs of Stormkirk. Or Heirs of Stormkirk, my bad. Heirs of Stormkirk is a vampire that says Intimidate. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. When it deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. More of that Intimidate going on. Excuse me. Next is one of my favorites is a Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker is a vampire shaman that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you may have that player lose 1 life. A little bit of damage there. Next is a Stormkirk Captain. For 1 colorless, 1 black, and 1 red, other vampire creatures you control get +1/+1 and have first strike. First strike is always good. Kills things faster. Make sure you're swinging if you ever run this deck. Next is a Driver of the Dead. This vampire says when it dies, return target creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard to your battlefield. So there's a good way to get some low, very low, maybe your Shadow Alley Denizen back from the graveyard. Next is a Bloodthirsty Aerialist. For 2 black and 1 colorless, this vampire, which is one of my few flying vampires in this deck, is a 2/3 that says whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. Next is a Bishop's Soldier. For 1 white and 1 black, this common Vampire is a 2/2 lifelink. Lifelink's always good. Flying is better. Oh, Marauding Blight Priest. Anytime you're running anything that has life gain in it, I recommend you put this cheap, amazing card in there. Yeah, sure, it's 3, but it's a 3/2 that whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life? Are you kidding me? Ugh. Put that in an angel deck. If you make a white-black angel deck. Anyways, Vampire Nighthawk, duh. Why the heck wouldn't you have a Vampire Nighthawk in a vampire deck? That's a land. Next is something that I actually have to explain. A Shield Mare. So, no, it is not a vampire. But what's cool about it is, it's a 3-drop that says when it enters the battlefield or becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you gain 3 life. This has been very helpful to me. One time it was one of the only reasons why I survived. Just because the only damage somebody could do was 2 damage, and every time it hit my creatures, like all my low ones would die. But this would get hit for 2 damage, stay alive, and then I gained 3 life. It was dope. It helped me a lot. It's the only thing saving me at one point. Next is a Firebolt. Love Firebolt. Modern Horizons 2 deals 2 damage to any target, and it has flashback for 5. Seems like a lot to pay, but meh. Next is, again, not a vampire, but super helpful. Leonin Vanguard. The reason why I put this in is because it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and you gain 1 life. So you gain life. It's literally a 1-drop, and literally you're gonna own 3 or more creatures at almost any point in time. So if you can keep this on the freaking battlefield, you can sit there and gain life. It's lovely. Lovely. Next is a Welding Sparks for 1 red and 2 colorless. When it deals X damage to target creature, where X is 3 plus the number of artifacts you control. I don't know why I have this in here. I really don't. I don't remember making artifacts. Next is a Dwarven Priest. Dwarven Priest is a dwarf cleric that says, when it enters the battlefield, I gain 1 life for each creature I control. And it's a 2/4. So, make a bunch of vampires, play him. Next is a Swashbuckling. From Ixalan, I believe. Yes, Ixalan. Swashbuckling. Pirates. Anyways. Enchant Creature. Or Enchantment Aura, Enchant Creature. Enchanted Creature gets +2/+2 in haste. Yes. I just love how that sounds. Alright, next is Kea. Whoa, shit. Kea. Says your opponents and permanents your opponents control with hexproof can be the targets of spells and abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. And then you can -3 here, and exile target creature. She starts off at 7, but she's any combination of 3 white or 3 black and 3 colorless. And she's pretty dope, actually. Pretty dope for just an uncommon. Like, that's kind of broken. There's a lot around it. She's easy to kill. That's probably why. Next is a Dragon Mage. Everybody's like, what happened to the vampires? I didn't have very many vampires, but the deck works just fine, just, with Edgar, which... Bye-bye. Anyways, Dragon Mage is 2 red and 5 colorless, and it is a Dragon Wizard. It is a 5/5 with flying, and when it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand, then draws 7. I don't like playing this card unless I have to. But it's a great way to draw into better stuff if you can't get anything else on the field. Next is a Sanguinary Mage, and I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't have very many non-creature spells. Anyways, next is a Queen's Commission. Obviously, come on. Makes vampires for 3 with lifelink. Not a lot of flying, like I said. Child of the Night. Duh. Next is Cruel Celebrant. Creature Vampire. When Cruel Celebrant or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then because... Well, lots of things happen. Lots of things. There was something in here about... Marauding Blight Priest. Goes along with Marauding Blight Priest. Whenever you gain life, each player loses 1 life. So, fun little combo there. Next, a trusty Pack Beast. I don't want to talk about that here. That returns 1 card. Next is a Calastria Healer. This is one of my favorites because whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And I have a couple allies in here, but not very many. That's why I really liked it. And it's a vampire, of course. Next is a Divine Arrow. Divine Arrow says, deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Next is Lava Dart. For 1 red, it deals 1 damage to any target. You can flashback it for sacrificing a mountain. Next, a Silver Moat Ghoul. A zombie vampire for 3. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return it from the graveyard to your battlefield tapped. You can sacrifice it to draw a card. So, draw mechanic. You're definitely going to gain 3 or more life almost every turn. Nocturnal Feeder. Vampire. Enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Next is a Vampire of the Dire Moon from M20. Death Touch and Lifelink. 1 drop, 1/1. Next is a Lightning Shrieker. I wanted a lot of flyers in here because I didn't have a lot of flying vampires, so I threw some dragons in. Lightning Shrieker is a 5/5 flying trample. At the beginning and end step, shuffles it into his or her library. The owner shuffles it into his or her library. Next is a Gold Knight Redeemer. Obviously, life gain. And, gain 2 life for each creature on the battlefield. So, good one that goes with, well, this guy. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. And there's another one. Gain life. Gain life. Gain life. There's just a lot of effect from it just because you gain life. Yep. Anyways. Well, that's really it after this? Or did I drop some? Oh, nope. Sorry. Next is a Boglet Brute. It is a 3/2 Goblin Warrior. It is a... you tap for 1 red and 2 colorless. Not really vampire themed. Alright, for 2 white and 1 colorless, a 2/3 flying vampire soldier. Finally, some flying, right, guys? Alright. Next is a Regal Bloodlord. Keeps slipping out of my hand. Regal Bloodlord. Creature, vampire, soldier. Flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. 2/4. That's where a lot of my flying is supposed to come in. Next is not a vampire. It is a Viashino Pyromancer, which is a Vishino wizard. When it's the battlefield, it deals 2 damage target player or planeswalker. Just a little bit of doing damage for low and having a 2/1 on the field. Next is a Daybreak Chaplain. Again, there's that life gain. And then last but not least, and I'm pretty sure you can guess why I have her in here, but it was kind of just because I didn't have anywhere else to put her at the time. But it's my Liliana Heretical Healer. Everybody saw this. If you follow our channel, I got this like the Christmas after we started our channel. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's never going to leave me. And what it says, I barely take it out of its sleeve, so you're very lucky. Anyways, for 2 black and 1 colorless, this legendary creature says, legendary creature, human cleric from the vault. It is a 2/3 with lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, I get to exile her, then return her to the battlefield transformed under my control. If I do, I get to create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So then she transforms, and she becomes Liliana Defiant Necromancer. Look at this beautiful card. Oh, I love it. Legendary Planeswalker Liliana. +2. Her loyalty starts at 3. +2. Each player discards a card. Then -X. Return target non-legendary creature card with converted mana cost X from the graveyard to the battlefield. I get an emblem with whenever this creature dies. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Oh, she's so beautiful. I love her. Also, because I don't like, I gotta do that. I just put a prosthetic pillar because I cannot see myself using this in a deck. But it's a cool card. Whenever player plays a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, it deals 2 damage to that player. Good way to stop a weenie deck. Anyways. So that right there is my deck. The only thing that I recommend you do differently is the lands. Get yourself some more special lands. I've been needing to redo the lands in this, and I never did. Of course, I have an Evolving Wilds, a Rakdos Canarium, and a Haunted Fangrath just because of the sacrifice, return, or creature card from random at my hand to my hand. I own no rights to any music in this. I don't know if I said that already. But yeah, that is the justification of my Edgar Markov deck that obviously I need to sell the Edgar out of because holy shit, guys. I always love doing these deck techs. Please let me know, comment down below what you think of our decks when we post them. This would only be our 3rd one, I believe. Cruz did a Volo deck. I did a Jaliva deck. They both got a good amount of views. But let us know, like, what would you like to see more? Is there something wrong with our deck text? Is there something wrong with our videos? Just let us know, man. Let us know. Alright, this is Joe Drazi from PlayMat Format. This was my deck tech of Edgar Markov, guys. Thank you for coming and watching, and see you next time.